Let's determine the volume of a cylinder. So I'm all set up in my station. I got my volume from before. Here it's 169.75 inches cubed. We're going to make that 170 to simplify our math. Okay? Here is the equation for a cylinder. Okay? The height and the diameter right here. So the volume is going to equal 1/4 pi d squared h. What is this? What is this? Even though we're looking at new symbols and things that you haven't seen before, please do not stress this. V stands for volume, which we already have. We know we want this volume. So our volume is going to be 170 inches cubed. Good. Equals 1/4. Pi represents a specific number. Instead of that, I'm going to just put 3.141. D, which we are going to determine, squared h. Now, h is our height. Make your life simple and decide on a value for h. I'm going to make h 10 and inches. So I've already chosen one of the dimensions. Now let's find our diameter. To do this, we need to do some math, okay? We are going to eliminate everything beside our d. And we're going to get all of our numbers on one side. So in the end, we're going to have d equals blank. And that's going to tell us what our diameter is going to be. So, let's go. First, I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. Now, if this side is multiplied by 4 and this side is multiplied by 4, they're still going to be the same thing. So we're allowed to do this and simplify our problems. So, for starters, I am not a calculator. 4 times 170. Boom, 680. Using technology. 680 inches cubed equals, look at this, 4 times 1/4. I can just cancel out because 4/4 equals 1. So that would be almost like 1 times 3.141 d squared times 10. Now that we have our problems set up here on our next step, we're going to divide by 10. So for this, we're just going to divide the entire thing by 10, divide the entire thing by 10. This becomes 68 inches cubed equals 1, which is my 1/4, times 3.141 times d squared. And, I got 10 on the bottom, 10 on the top. Boom. Boom. Cancel out. And this is actually 10 inches. So that's going to cancel out my inches here. It's going to cancel 1 inch out here. So it's 68 inches squared equals 1 times 3.141 times d squared times 1. Because that 10 divided by 10, we'll turn that into 1. We're almost there. We're going to divide both sides by 3.141. Cancel that. Cancel that. 3.141. So what you're going to do, you divide by 3.141 on both sides. And when you divide out 68 divided by 3.141, you end up with 21.65 inches squared. Okay? Equals 1 times, okay, 3.141 is now 1 times d squared times 1. Well, we got all these 1s here. Let's just get rid of them. So now 21.65 inches squared equals d squared. For this point, we're going to have to do what's called the square root of something. Square root basically just means you're taking the number and you're going to multiply it by itself as many times as this this exponent is what it's called, shows you. So this would be the same as d times d. Okay? So what you do on the calculator to find the square root of this number you're going to look for this symbol. Looks like a dividing line with like a little diving board on it. So you just put it in your calculator. 21.65 square root, and you will have 4.65 inches equals D. This is your answer for your diameter. Now let's see how it plays out when we multiply it through, because you don't need to have the volume to do this equation. You can actually, as long as you have every variable, you can figure out the last one. So I'm going to do this in reverse. This is just for bonus, and I'm going to do it with a calculator online. That's a scientific calculator. So what you would do, okay, you'd set up your equation. V equals 1/4 pi d squared h. V equals 1/4, okay, pi times d, 4.65, squared, okay, times the height, times 10. I go to my calculator up here. 0.25 times 3.141. Actually, I'll even just do pi. Okay, and now we're going to do 4.65 squared. And last but not least, we're going to multiply it by 10. 169. V equals 169.82. That's pretty close. And the reason why it's slightly varied is because we did, we rounded up our numbers, we rounded down our numbers. That's going to affect our result in the end right here. So anyway, now you can figure out what the dimensions of your cylinder are.